Well, hello there. We'll do a little bit of walking and talking. All right, walking and talking with Michael here. So this is a way that I find for myself to process and regulate things. I like to walk. And one of the reasons I like the walking is because I generally think best and can speak best when I'm moving. Even when I've spoken at different places in public, I like to use the stage. I like to walk across the stage, back and forth. Being fixed behind a podium of some sort, find it a lot more challenging to let my thoughts flow freely. The truth is, when you're out walking, that bipedal action, actually engaging both hemispheres of the brain, so you're getting brain coherence, which also helps with whatever you're processing at the moment. And so does speaking out loud, so that you can hear your own words and they come back through you. There's a particular term for it that I don't recall at this time, but it helps sort things out. And this may not be true. That last part may not be true for everyone. It may be partially the way you're wired. But walking does help for everybody. The physiological impact is undeniable. But what I thought about today was very interesting. Been feeling a little what I call discombobulated lately. There's lots of changes going on in the relationships around me right now. And I'm helping to facilitate some of those different things and do what I can here and there. And there's part of me that finds myself wondering at times, am I moving anywhere? Am I moving forward? As I've talked about in other videos, last October I went on sabbatical, and for various reasons. But one of the biggest reasons was I had realized it had been 5 years since all the stuff that I dealt with cancer, and I've been back in the workforce for 5 years, just in a blink of an eye. So I decided to take some time off while I was healthy, kind of get a refresh. And when I did that, I stepped away from a lot of other responsibilities. I stepped away from teaching Tai Chi that I had done for almost 3 years. I stepped away from speaking at Unity Center of Des Moines, which I had done fairly consistent for, I don't know, the last 2 to 3 years or something. And I tried some things during the sabbatical, and I went on a trip that I knew I wanted to take regardless. And through all of these different experiences, I've had some very interesting awarenesses come about. And as I sat there tonight and was thinking, why do I feel so odd right now, right? I decided, you know what, I gotta process something, so let's go on a walk. Let's go out and spend some time in nature and go on a walk. And as I got out here and as I started walking, immediately it hit me. It's like, oh, well, I'm used to chasing. Well, that's part of the deal right there. And what I realized in the moment was my entire life I've always been chasing something or chasing someone. And then if I caught that something or caught that someone, then I would hang on to that. Because generally that thing or person felt as though there was reflecting some type of meaning or value for me. And that was true even if whatever I was doing or whoever I was in a relationship with who I was in relationship with at the time, I would hang on even if, in truth, the thing or the relationship with the person wasn't actually healthy, wasn't actually in my best interest. But to walk away from that, where there was a person, where there was a thing, where there was an identity, to walk away from that then would leave the question, well, who are you? Who is Michael? Right? One thing I noticed about when I came out of this walk tonight is right now I have almost nothing defining me. I have dropped almost all of the things that have provided me some sense of identity. Right? And sometimes when I look at these other people who it appears to be that they're moving forward, and then I begin to question, am I moving anywhere? And I begin to question, why are you comparing yourself? And then I begin to note the different ways that I'm moving forward. And ironically, one of the biggest ways that I have moved forward in these last 6 to 8 months is by setting things down. And not filling the void with something else. And I'm thankful that I've actually been able to do that. I understand not everybody is in the same type of position where they're able to do that. But there are other ways that you can do it. You can still keep your job and set everything else down. You can begin to question, why is it that I'm doing the things that I'm doing? Maybe it's from a very pure place. But maybe there's something subconsciously driving it. The simple question is, do I want to keep doing what I'm doing? Do I want to stay in? Do I want to keep speaking? Do I want to keep teaching Tai Chi? Do I want to keep working this job? Do I want to keep going to this group or going to this event? Do I want to continue to be part of certain relationships that you have? Do you want to continue going to the church that you go to? Then let yourself actually sit with these questions. Because by allowing yourself to sit with these questions will take you to a deeper level. Generally, as I say, your first instinct is always right. Remember when you were taking a test in school? You'd have that first instinct for the answer. And almost always, if you doubted that and you changed it to something else, you'd almost always miss the question. And when you'd come to find out what the right answer was, it was what your instinct told you all along. There's a deeper knowing in all of us. That will tell us whether what we are involved in, what we are engaged with, if we should keep engaging with that, if we should keep being involved with that, if we need to alter something with it, or maybe we just need to let it go all the way. Maybe we need to let it go in its entirety. There is no one right answer. But I know from my letting go of so many things, I've realized how much I was chasing things and how much I was holding on to things. And now I find myself going, what is it that I really want to pick up? Right? What is it that I really want to put my energy towards? And just because you pick up something and start putting your energy toward it doesn't mean you have to continue doing it. These are things that you get to check in with all the time. In every new moment, you get to make a choice again, right? That's where our freedom is. It's in our ability to choose. And I know that there are times in life where we don't feel like we have any ability to choose, where we feel like we are trapped. And that the only thing we must do is push forward through whatever it is. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. I have found in most of my circumstances in life, most of the times where I felt I didn't have a choice, I actually did have a choice. And the choice that I was making was continuing to hold on to, continuing to choose in to things that were not necessarily in my best interest. And it wasn't until the pain of those things or the weight of those things became too great and I had to set them down. That's when things would really change and really changed for me. So now I've been going through the practice of setting things down consciously. Not arbitrarily, not on a whim per se, but taking the time to tune in to myself, to tune into my knowing, say, what is it I need to do right now? And so now it's interesting because when my hands are empty, right? They're not grasping onto anything. When they're empty and they're open, it's much easier to receive. And not only is it easier to receive, it's easier to choose something new that I can reach out and take hold of. And again, we always want to be careful about whatever it is that we reach out and we take hold of. We don't want that thing to become something that we are then just clinging to and grasping to because it holds all the answers, or it holds our identity, or it holds all of the value and all of the meaning for us. Really, the things that we reach out to are generally just things that call to us. They speak to us for some reason. And there's an experience, there's something there for us to learn more about ourselves. And the very things that we can grasp onto at times that will set us free and take us to the next level, at times can then become the trap because we're holding on to those things for too long. And so then we have to always tune in and say, where am I at with this right now? Do I continue moving forward with this? Or is it time to let go and see what else comes in to the picture? Life can be very disorienting when you take away what feels like your navigational systems, right? Because my navigation systems were built on, well, what is out there? What am I supposed to be doing? What are the scripts? What are the rules? What are the things that I should be interested in? What are the things that I need to do, that I have to take care of? Those were the things that were driving my decisions, lots of them. And in the past number of years, that has shifted. And I began doing things more out of, this is what really interests me. This is where I really feel called right now. And I would pick those things up and I would work with them for a time. And then, as you've seen, after a while, when it started to shift, for instance, when I first started teaching Tai Chi, loved it, absolutely loved it. Really got into it, was excited about it each week, and as time went on, that held for quite a while. But then I remember there came a point where I started struggling, and it was like, kind of like a pendulum or a meter bouncing back and forth. started getting this, love it, oh, I wish I didn't have to go do this, you know. And once that meter started tilting the other way a little too much, and it didn't matter how much I tried to psych myself up about it, I had to tune in and I had to say, do you really want to do this anymore? Forget about the people who come to class. Because lots of times we make decisions, lots of times I make decisions based on accommodation of other people, right? I really had to break it down. And anytime I was going back to my default, how do I make a decision? It would be like, well, yeah, of course I need to keep teaching it. It's a great class, you can't deny it. And I do enjoy teaching. And the students that come, they really enjoy it. And I really have enjoyed getting to know them as people, and both in class and outside of class. And so that kept me hooked in a little bit longer. When I finally came to the realization of like taking it back to saying, okay, that can all be true, but what is it that Michael really wants at this point? Does Michael really want to teach this anymore right now? And the truth is, the answer came through, and it came through consistently. He's like, no, I don't want to. I'm tired. I kind of need a break. It was wonderful, but it's fulfilled its course for me right now. And this is the way all things really should be in life, right? Because everything ebbs and flows. And sure, we'll have those things that we commit to and we can find joy and satisfaction and fulfillment in for years and decades even. But it doesn't necessarily mean that everything that we pick up we have to stay with. We always have the ability to set those things down, to make a different decision. Instead of chasing things, hoping that this next thing will fill that void, sometimes what we need to do is set most things down and just be with ourselves and see what new things come through. And nothing, there may be nothing that appears for a while. It's been interesting to me to see how nothing has really popped up that has just come out of nowhere. That's like, oh, this is it. This is the next thing I should pursue. This is the next thing that I feel very drawn to and very called to, you know. And but through all of this came the realization that of that chasing and of that grasping that was so prevalent in my life. And now I get to look at things and really choose, what do I want to pick up? What do I want to carry? And even if I do pick up something, I'm very conscious about how long do I want to carry this? Like, I'm going to check in. Once I pick something up, I'm going to keep checking in with it. Do I want to keep carrying this? Do I want to keep moving forward with this? Where am I with this? What's my overall intent or goal with this? Why am I doing this? And there doesn't have to be a reason. I'm not talking about a reason because it fulfills some purpose. I'm talking about, does it still bring you joy? Does it excite you? You know? Do you feel like uplifted when you do it? Or when you're involved in that relationship on a consistent basis, you know? Is whatever it is it filling you up on a consistent basis? Or is it draining you? And I think that's the best gauge, is to really say, is something, whether it's a thing, an identity, a role, a relationship, is this consistently filling me up where I'm coming away with more energy? Or is it draining me? And if anything is draining you on a consistent basis, it is a very, very good cue that even if you don't understand why, it's probably time to let that thing go. This one was a little longer than normal, but as you can see, it's a beautiful night out. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Blessings and love to you as always.